when a bush pilot named Oliver tipped a 6-seater Cessna sideways, a plane, sideways, over the Mackenzie Delta so my girls could count lakes out the window. Hannah counted 200 on the right. Madeline counted 100 on the left. I thought, this is the best geography lesson I have ever witnessed. Just a tiny plane, the top of the earth, and girls counting lakes from the sky. That summer, we drove to Inuvik, Northwest Territories, just shy of the 70th parallel. And we lived there for about 2.5, 3 months. The entire summer was our homeschool, and it taught me something I want to give you today. Education does not have to look like school. It just has to look like life lived on purpose. Welcome back. I'm Teresa Wiedrich, homeschool life coach, and this is stop 3 of the Confident Homeschool Roadmap. Links to stop 1 and 2 are below, but let's get into stop 3 today. Now, I know not everyone gets to fly a Cessna to the Arctic Ocean. That is not the point of this video. The point is what that day taught me about what learning really is. And you can apply that understanding in your backyard, your grocery store, your car, your kitchen table. You do not need a passport. You also don't need a travel budget. You do not need anything other than a new pair of eyes and a willingness to let go of what you thought school was supposed to look like. That willingness is what this stop is all about. Here is one of the most common things I see in new homeschool moms, and I say this with complete compassion because I did this too. Homeschool moms that are new pull their kids out of school, set up a dedicated schoolroom or space, create a timetable that runs from 9 a.m. to 3 or something like that, and they try to recreate as faithfully as possible the experience that their kids just left. Same subjects, same structure, same basic shape, and then they wonder why it isn't working. Here's what I see happening. They left the school building, but kept the school blueprint. And the blueprint doesn't fit a home. It doesn't fit a family, or the way children actually learn when they're not in an institution. The very first mindset shift of a confident homeschool is this. You are not running a school. You're building your kids' education. They are not the same thing. And the difference between them changes a lot of the daily activities that you choose. So let me tell you what happened on that Cessna flight. My girls counted lakes from a plane window, a 6-seater Cessna. Geography, number awareness, observation, attention. Our guide when we landed was a lady named Elaine. She was an Inuvialuit woman who lived in Tuktoyaktuk her entire life. She told us about going out on the land for 6 months every year, hunting caribou, picking cloudberries, blueberries, living from the land. That is ecology and culture and history and economics all in one conversation with one human being. We stood on a dock beside the inlet where beluga whales had been harpooned and harvested just months before. Elaine explained how every last part of that beluga was used. Blubber for cooking oil, blood for soup meat, meat shared among families and set aside for elders. Not one piece was wasted. That is biology, ethics, community, indigenous studies, all standing on a dock in the wind. My 5-year-old Rachel was less than thrilled when Oliver tipped the plane for a close-up of a pingo. But here's what I want you to notice. None of that was planned in advance. I mean, the trip was because we had to book the 6-seater Cessna. None of it came from a curriculum in a box, though. All of it was real, connected, and just remembered because our kids' brains are wired for exactly that kind of learning. Contextual, embodied, connected to real people and places. The classroom was just Tuktoyaktuk. And if you're in Tuktoyaktuk, hi, I love your little town. But you only have your classroom. You have your space wherever you're learning from, and you can take your kids anywhere within it, including the backyard and the farmer's market, the library, the kitchen, the hardware store. I want to be very specific here because I don't want you to walk away from this video thinking you need to plan elaborate field trips to make your homeschool meaningful. You don't. We were in Tuktoyaktuk because my husband was working up there in a hospital, and he got called in to fly in to Tuktoyaktuk from Inuvik to deliver a baby. That was paid by the Northwest Territories Health Authority. And when he came home, he said, we have to book a Cessna for you to take the kids to Tuktoyaktuk. You have to see this before you go. You need to touch the Arctic Ocean before we leave this summer. And it was a remarkable summer, and it was an incredible trip etched in my mind. But I know it is not possible to always book a 6-seater Cessna to the Arctic Ocean. You don't have to do these things to learn about learning and to make your homeschool meaningful, though. The mom who bakes bread with her 8-year-old and talks about yeast and fermentation and fractions. That's science and math happening in real time. The mom who reads aloud from a novel set in the French Revolution and stops to ask her kids what they think and have a conversation around that. That's history and critical thinking and empathy. The mom who takes her kids to the grocery store and has them calculate the cost per unit on 2 different brands of pasta. That's consumer math in 3 minutes in aisle 7. Education is not a subject. It is an orientation of a curious mind toward the real world. And you can cultivate that anywhere you are. So the question isn't, does this look like school? The question is my child learning? Are they learning to think, to wonder, to connect, to build capacity and persistence? And if yes, you're homeschooling. It's working. Keep going. So what specifically do you need to release to make this shift? Let go of the 6-hour school day. Research on learning consistently shows that focused, engaged learning in shorter bursts outperforms long passive stretches. Your kids do not need 6 hours. They need enough time to sleep. They need enough time to go deep. And then they need to live and play and be curious and to pursue their own projects. Let go of covering every subject every day. You're playing a long game. This could be 2 decades. A child who spends 3 hours daily absorbing themselves into one thing has learned more than a child who skims 7 subjects in 45-minute increments. Let go of the idea that unstructured time is wasted time. Research does not support that notion. Play is how kids process and integrate and consolidate learning. It's how their neural networks are connected. It's not a break from education. It is part of it. Let go of comparison, or at least practice letting go of comparison. The school down the road is doing something different from what you're doing. That is the whole point. You did not choose this path to do the same thing in a different building. Here's the reframe I want you to carry into your week. You're doing something different. Maybe the school system is doing something in its own way, but the scenic route, the one that winds through the unexpected, that stop at the Pingo and the Beluga dock and the ice house 30 feet into permafrost that we visited in Tuktoyaktuk, that route can change you. It can change how you think about education. It can open up your world. You chose this road because you believed it would give your family something that the highway or the conventional school system couldn't. So trust the instinct. Build from that instinct. Let it shape what your homeschool actually looks like. Don't let it shape what you saw behind you, the conventional school system. If you want to work through this shift in a structured way, the 7-day Confident Homeschool Mom Roadmap is waiting for you in the description below. Day 3 of the roadmap is specifically about redefining what education looks like in your family, with a reflection prompt that helps you identify the moments of real learning that are already happening in your home right now, that you might not be considering a real education. I promise you they are already there. You just need to see with new eyes. The link is in the description below. It's free. Go grab it. One thing I want to name clearly before we close this stop: redefining education does not mean doing nothing. It does not even mean unschooling by default. Though if that's your goal, you do you. It doesn't mean letting your kids watch screens all day. Nope. And it doesn't mean that you're ignoring the basics or abandoning all structure. It means building a structure that serves your family, not trying to outperform the structure that's already in the institution. There is still arithmetic. There is still reading and writing. There is still consistency and expectation and showing up. But the shape of those things can look like yours, unique to your family. And the context in which they happen can be alive and connected and real. That's not lowering the bar. That's raising the bar. Thanks for being here for Stop 3. Here's your reminder. You matter in your homeschool life, not just as the teacher, not just as the planner, and not just as the one holding it all together, but as a whole person with needs, desires, and a life worth nurturing. Every small intentional shift you make ripples outward into your kids, your home, your sense of self. You don't have to overhaul everything. You just need to take one step toward alignment. And that's what we do here together. Your action before stop 4 is to look at your week and find one moment of real learning that you didn't plan and that didn't come from curriculum. Write it down. If today's video resonated, please hit subscribe so you don't miss stop 4, where we talk about the most important curriculum decision that you'll ever make. Spoiler alert, it is not curriculum at all. It's your child. And if you know a mom who's trying to recreate a classroom at home and wondering why life is feeling so hard, share this with her. It might be exactly the permission she needs today. When you're ready to go deeper, to untangle your overwhelm and rebuild a homeschool life that feels calm, confident, and aligned, I'd love to support you one-on-one. Book your free Aligned Homeschool Reset session with me. The link is in description below. Until next time, tend to yourself, trust yourself, and lead your homeschool life from the inside out. You got